Good morning. Will she or won't she? New questions this morning over whether Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh's accuser will testify before the Senate.
You can't put the genie back in the bottle, and the American people are entitled to hear from both of them.
Republicans digging in, setting a deadline for her to decide, but vowing to move forward if she doesn't. Overnight, her attorney blasting the rush to a hearing as not fair. So where does it go from here? We're live at the White House and on Capitol Hill. Still rising, new flooding and new evacuations in the hurricane-ravaged Carolinas, where nearly a week after Florence made landfall, entire neighborhoods remain underwater. President Trump touring the damage and vowing to help.
Whatever we have to do at the federal level, we will be there.
City on edge, a woman stabbed to death on her nightly jog in the nation's capital. Just ahead, the desperate manhunt to find the killer. Those stories, plus walking free, Elizabeth Smart's kidnapper seen for the first time since her controversial prison release. Overnight, Smart reacting to her former captor's newfound freedom.
I'm not going to let these people or this woman stop me from living the life that I want to live.
Mavericks mess.
I'm just sorry I didn't see it. I'm just sorry I didn't recognize it.
Mark Cuban responds to a bombshell investigation revealing a history of widespread sexual harassment within his NBA franchise. And Heart and Soul, the adorable girl who danced her way into Drake's heart. Oh my God! Then got a life-saving transplant.
I'm getting a heart, Mom.
Shows us how she's doing on her road to recovery.
I haven't felt this free in a while.
Today, Thursday, September 20th, 2000.
From NBC News, this is Today with Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb, live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
Welcome to Today. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday morning. Sophia Sanchez, doesn't that little girl make you feel so good?
I love her so much. She got a new heart. Now our hearts have grown 5 sizes. She's adorable. She just had that heart transplant, and now we're going to check in on her and see how she's doing in a bit.
I'm so happy that story's in our newscast today. Our top story this morning, though, the standoff over Brett Kavanaugh's nomination to the Supreme Court. And the big question, will we ever hear from the woman who's accused him of sexual misconduct? We have 2 reports for you, starting with NBC White House correspondent Kristen Welker. Hey, Kristen, good morning.
Hey, Hoda, good morning to you. The Senate Judiciary Chairman is now giving Christine Blasey Ford a Friday deadline to say whether she will appear at Monday's hearing. But Ford isn't backing down. Her attorneys say there should be an FBI investigation and ultimately a hearing that includes multiple witnesses.
This morning, will she or won't she? That's the critical question after Christine Blasey Ford said she wants the FBI to investigate her sexual assault allegation against Judge Brett Kavanaugh as a first step before she testifies in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee Monday. President Trump urging her to speak publicly.
I'd really want to see her. I really would want to see what she has to say.
But does the president believe her?
I can only say this. He is such an outstanding man. Very hard for me to imagine that anything happened.
And while standing by his nominee, Mr. Trump is also hinting his support may not be ironclad.
If she shows up and makes a credible showing, that'll be very interesting, and we'll have to make a decision.
Overnight, Blasey Ford's attorney digging in with a statement saying she is unable to go home, receiving ongoing threats, and arguing the rush to a hearing is unnecessary and contrary to the committee discovering the truth. One of Blasey Ford's longtime friends says she has no reason to doubt her.
She's not someone who makes things up. So this was just a tremendously difficult decision for her, both because of the nature of her experience and how private she's kept that for so many years.
Kavanaugh has denied the sexual assault allegation from more than 3 decades ago. For his part, the president signaling he has no plans to order an FBI investigation, even though he's the only one who can do it, since it's ultimately a background check for his nominee.
Well, it would seem that the FBI really doesn't do that. They've investigated
They would if you asked them to, Mr. President.
They've investigated about 6 times before, and it seems that they don't do that.
Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley offering to send staffers to obtain Blasey Ford's testimony in California, her home state, and also insisting there is no need to reopen the FBI investigation or delay the hearing, writing a letter to Blasey Ford's lawyers encouraging her to testify, either privately or publicly, on Monday.
Well, where I'm focused right now is doing everything that we can to make Dr. Ford comfortable with coming before our committee.
Now, there is precedent for the FBI stepping into a Supreme Court nomination process late in the game, and it's pretty well known. Back in 1991, former President George H.W. Bush ordered an investigation into Anita Hill's allegations of sexual harassment against now Justice Clarence Thomas. Hoda, Savannah.
All right, Kristen at the White House. Kristen, thanks.
Let's get more on this. NBC's Casey Hunt is on the Hill, and that's where it's happening. Casey, we talk about deadlines. We talk about this Monday hearing. It isn't exactly clear that Christine Blasey Ford has totally ruled out speaking out before Congress. Is there still a chance it could happen?
Savannah, there is. I mean, I think it's actually very important to underscore that she hasn't, in any of these letters or statements through her lawyers, ruled out completely testifying, and instead is highlighting some of the things about the process that may ultimately make her more sympathetic in the event that she does appear. I will say one congressional source told me that this is a high-stakes game of chicken, and I will also say from my reporting, Republicans really have drawn Monday as a line in the sand. They could delay if they wanted to, but politically it doesn't look like they will.
Well, Casey, it looks like as far as the FBI is concerned, it's case closed. There will not be an investigation. Is that right?
It does seem that way. It's as Kristen reported, it's up to the President of the United States. He does not seem to be budging. But one thing I will say from my reporting is that Republicans and Democrats, everyone behind the scenes is preparing for any scenario, including the possibility that there could be more information that comes up about Brett Kavanaugh's background, somebody else that might come forward. They're all planning for gaming out all of those different types of scenarios. And we still only have a couple days left of this. This is Thursday. This is supposed to happen on Monday. But that, as both of you know, is a very, very long time in politics.
It can be an eternity. Casey, thank you very much.
Also this morning, still rising rivers have forced even more evacuations in the Carolinas. That's nearly a week after Hurricane Florence made landfall. Survivors of the storm also getting a visit from the president on Wednesday. NBC's Tammy Leitner is in hard-hit New Birth, North Carolina. We did a lot of reporting from there. Tammy, good morning.
Good morning, Hoda. Residents are returning to New Bern today, finding massive devastation. In this case, a 36-foot boat from a marina a mile away crashed into the townhouse next door before slamming into this house.